Hello, welcome back to concentration using visual inheritance. In the last video we got the card working. In this video we're going to switch over to the form and kind of figure out how to manage those card objects that we created. So what I'm going to do is pop over to my form and let's go up here to our class and let's make a list of these card boxes, so that we can build a list of the controls that we have, and then we can assign the card types to them and kind of figure out if they're all matched or anything like that that we might need to do. So to make a list of them, we just use a list, and then in the angle brackets we specify the type of the thing in the list, and that's going to be a card box, and let's just call it cards. And then let's allocate the list. New list of card box types. All right, there. We're done. Now, let's populate the list. Populate the list of cards. So what we want to do is look at all the controls on our form. And if it's a card box, we're going to put it in our list of cards. Now we can't just put any control in that list because the list specifically contains card boxes. So the question then becomes, how do we determine if something is of a particular type? And C# provides two ways of doing that. They provide the word is, and they provide the word as. So is a dynamic cast in C++. It tries to cast something, or it'll tell you if something is a particular type. You can test the type of something at runtime. And then the word as is a type cast. And if the cast fails, you get a null pointer back. So let's look at our controls, and we'll loop over all of them and determine if any of them are card boxes, and if so, we'll put them in the list. So let's add a for each loop here, and we'll look at every control on this form. Well, how do we do that? Well, a form has a list of controls built into it. So we can say for every control C in controls, right? So controls is a member variable of the form. Every form has a list of the controls on it. Then we can test, is C a card box? So how do we do that? We say if C is a card box. Isn't that awesome? That is just so slick. That is just so much nicer than the C++ dynamic cast operator. So we'll test if C is a card box, and if it is, we'll put it in the list. Now, what's going to happen though is that we're going to have to typecast it, because C is a control and the list takes card boxes. So there's two ways to do this. We could do a C++ style cast. We could say convert this thing to a card box and add it to the list. That would work. That's kind of C++y though. Let's do a different way. We can use the C# kind of cast operator and do it that way. We can say C as a card box. So take C and convert it to be a card box, and then this expression returns a card box object or a null reference if the typecast fails. So now what we have here is a list of, now we've populated our list of cards. So, interesting. Well, just for fun here, let's show the card. We'll kind of flip it over here. So we could say C as card box, and let's put parentheses around that, dot show card. So cast that thing to a card box and show it. So if we run it, what happens now? So we should see the cards all face up, and they're all knights because knight is 0, and we haven't actually assigned any of the values to our cards yet. So let's go do that. in the next, assign values to the cards. Well, interesting. The problem is that when we assign, when we show the card up here, all right, let's just remove this line here. I'll comment it out. Let's go assign the values to our cards. So there's 14 cards, so let's have a for loop that runs 14 times. For tab tab, I is 0 to 14. And we want to kind of assign these things in pairs. So let's just kind of, I don't know, kind of figure out how we're going to do this. We'll say I, card sub I dot card type equals, and then let's make a variable called like t for card type. So up here I'll make an integer called t and set it to 0. This is kind of hacky because really this thing is an enumeration and we're kind of assigning it integers, but we know that our enumerations really are integers 0 to 6, and as long, you know, and this, so what we're going to do is just use integers and cast them to be the enumerated types. So this t thing here is an integer. We're trying to assign it to an enumeration. So let's just cast it to be a card type enum. We know that'll work. I know this is just a bit hacky, and let's also assign the next card to have that type. So what we'll do is assign card I to be type T. We'll assign card I plus 1 to be type T, and now we have 2 of those cards, and then let's add 1 to type T. So the next time we come through, so card 0 and 1 will be a 0, card 2 and 3 will be type 1, card 4 and 5 will be type 2, and then the only snag is here, instead of going up by 1, we want to go up by 2. You know what, and then let's be slick about this. Let's take the t++ and let's put it up here in the for loop. So we can do that. We can actually have 2 post conditions if we separate them with a comma. So that will assign our cards in pairs, and then let's show our cards down here. So we'll say card sub I dot show card, and this is only to prove that the assignment is working. So we'll set the card types and then show the cards. So let's run this. See if it works. Boom. Okay, so now you can see we've got all our card types there. 1, 2, yeah, that works. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 6, 7. Oh, you know, because I didn't put them on the form in order. That's why. Well, there it is. Neat. All right, so there's our, and then let's. We'll leave it like that. We'll just so we can. No. Let's get rid of that now. So now we won't see the cards. But now what we need to do is shuffle the cards. So let's make a function called shuffle cards. And we'll use the same trick that we do when we sort. We're basically going to treat our list of cards like an array, and we'll switch the types on 2 randomly chosen cards. So let's make a random number generator here. Random r equals new random. Boom. There we go. And then let's make a for loop that runs like, I don't know, 1,000 times or something. For I equals 0, I is less than like 1,000. Okay. So let's pick 2 random indexes and then exchange the types in the cards at those indexes. So let me make an integer called, index 1, and that'll be r.next. So some number between 0 and 14, because we got 14 cards. And let's make another index. 0 to 14, and then let's exchange the value, the card types at those indexes. And anytime you exchange values in a list or an array, you're going to need a temporary variable. So let's make a card type enum called temp and set it equal to the first card's card type. So we'll say cards sub index 1 dot card type dot card type. And then, so we've saved that guy's card type. And then we can, whoops, why didn't that work? Copy the second card's card type over top of it. And then we'll take the second card's card type and replace it with the first card's card type. So that will shuffle the cards 1,000 times. And then maybe what we want to do is show them all just, well, you know what? This is kind of an example of how properties are really kind of slick. Let's go, I'm just for the sake of demonstration here, let's go, I'm going to go back to the card box class, and in the setter for, where's the property for that? Where do we set the card type? Oh, it's right here, the get and set. So maybe what I'll do is, for the setter, no, I'm not going to do this. It's just gonna get too ugly. What I wanted to do is make a setter and then have it call the show card function to set the card's image. The problem is if I do this, then I'm going to have to make a private variable to store the card type, and then this is going to get kind of it's going to get ugly real fast. So so I'm not going to do that. I kind of went down a dead end there. Sorry. But what I'll do is back here, let's go back to the shuffle, and then what I'll do is I'll just make a loop a for each loop to go over all the cards. Card box C in the card types, or in the cards, and then I'll say C.showCard. And that'll just, we just want to see that the shuffling works. So let's run this, and of course it didn't work because I never called the shuffle card function. So let's go back here and grab our shuffle card function and paste it in right there. So there's our, after we assign the values, we'll shuffle the cards and show them. Boom. Did that actually work? Yes, they are all scrambled all over the place now. So, all right, cool. Shuffling works. So now what we can do is get rid of this. We can just comment it out. We don't need it anymore. Okay, now that we've got our shuffling working, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pause the recording here because we got that working. In the next video, what we'll do is add the member variables to this form so we can track which cards were clicked on, flip the cards over, and then start the timer when 2 cards have been clicked, and then see if they match. So I think it's a good place to stop, and then we'll kind of pick this up in the next video.